So what does it look like with letters? All right, what does it look like with letters? We talked about all of these here, but these are just numbers. Now we want to talk about letters. So with number 6, we have 14y, 7xy, 21y, right? The factors of 14y is 2, 7. Oh, we forgot 1, 14. And y, right? That's this first one. The second one is 7, 1, x, y. And the third one is 1, 21. Don't forget our y. Three, 7. And that's that. All right, so we factored each term here, and I've tried to color code it so you can recognize. So from here, we know 1 is definitely a common factor between all of them. 7. So we never really have to acknowledge 1 just because it's 1. But we do have 7 between all 3 of them. And we have y. So now we would say our greatest common factor would be, we will multiply 7 times y to get 7y. And that is our greatest common factor. All right, and of course it gets complicated, more complicated. Let's look at 8. All right, because we got time that's running out. So let's look at 8. All right, we have 3x, right? We have 9x squared. Wrong color. We have 9x squared y. And we have 27x cubed y squared. Let's start by factoring 3x. That's 1, 3x, right? Those are the factors. With 9x squared 1, we have 1, right? 9, 3. 3 times 3, we don't have to write twice. X squared, we know is x times x. And then we have y. For the green 27, that's 1, 27, right? 3 times 9. And that's it for 27. Oh, and then x cubed is x times x times x. So x, and x are the factors there. And y squared is y and y. So what's the greatest common factor between these? Well, they all have 3 for sure. And they all have an x. Leaving us with the greatest common factor, 3 times x, which is 3x. So, how is this going to apply? Well, we really are going to apply what we've just learned to when we're working with polynomials. All right. Steps to factoring a polynomial is using the greatest common factor, or GCF. First, we need to find the GCF between the terms in the polynomial. Then we're going to write the greatest common factor on the outside of the parentheses and divide each term by that greatest common factor to know what's left on the inside of the parentheses. And then we can check it by the distributive property. So let's say, for instance, we have with number 1, 4w minus 16. Note our terms here are 4w and 16, right? The factors of 4w is 1 times 4 and then 2 times 2. So we're just going to write 2 and then there's w. For 16, there's 1, 16, there's 2, 8, and then there's 4. All right, what's the greatest common factor between them? Well, they each have 2. Actually, that's not the greatest, though, is it? It's 4. And that's it. So remember, in the step here, we said we're going to write the GCF on the left. I think this is a typo here, but outside of our parentheses. So basically we have a parentheses, and to the left we're going to write our greatest common factor, which we said is 4. And what's going to remain is what happens when we take that 4 and divide each term by it. 4w divided by 4 leaves us with 1w, so that's what we're going to put right here in the parentheses, minus 16 divided by 4 here. That's 4. Whoop, there it is. And this is what we would call factored form of this polynomial right here. How do we know we got the right factors of 4w minus 16? We can multiply back inside here and make sure we got the 4w minus 16. So let's try number 2. 15r plus 25. Well, we have factors, 15, well, not factors, but terms, 15r and 25. All right, 15r, it's 1, 15r, and then there's 3 and 5. For 25, there's 1, 25, and there's 5. Our greatest common factor appears to be 5. So when we write our factors, we have parentheses, and on the left side here, we're going to write the greatest common factor, which is 5. And how do we know what remains? We divide each term by that greatest common factor. 15r divided by 5 leaves us with 15 divided by 5 is 3. So that's 3r. Plus 25 divided by 5 is 5. So our factors of 15r plus 25 is 5 and 3r plus 5. So that's what happens when we factor. How do we know we factor correctly? Multiply and see if we get the original. I want you guys to try number 3, and we'll finish the rest in class.